Okay, this is session 3.2, wetland management, conservation and the restoration. And I'm Ki Jae-ju from Busan National University, Busan, South Korea. And here's some general guideline. Please mute yourself unless you're speaking. So it really helps. And then the participant will leave your questions through chat box, and I will announce it again once we have a more participant. And we originally had 6 speakers, but now we have only 4 due to the emergency situation of 2 speakers. First, Ajit Patinaik, Wetlands International South Asia will talk about some ecosystem service issue. And then second, Raksimikant Sharma from India will talk about very big lagoon system, I think. And then third, Maria Alaba. She is a research officer at Palawan, 1 hour from Manila by plane. And then she will talk about some reef, coral reef, Tubataha coral reef. And then the last presentation is Shailendra Kumar Pokharel from Nepal. Will talk about some new species of biodiversity issue of the system. Okay, so that's 4 speakers will talk 15 minutes, and then maybe 5 minutes we can have question and answer or discussions. So each speaker will have about total 20 minutes, okay? And then I will make a short summary of the session. And again, I welcome all of you. And this is a Asian Wetland Symposium, which we began 1992, Otsu, Japan. And then we had a series of a very successful Asian Wetland Symposium. And then the summary of what we discussed usually deliver to Asian meetings before the Ramsar COP meeting. So then at the Ramsar meeting, we can have Asian influence or flavor or Asian issues in the during the COP. So this is a very important step. First, we share problems or very successful cases, and then we collect our ideas through Asian Wetland Symposium. This time, Ramsar Regional Center East Asia is hosting the meeting, but due to the corona pandemic, unfortunately, we have a virtual meeting. But it's fortunate to have enough speakers to share the idea. But at the end of all this wetland symposium, I'm sure we will have a very clear understanding of current status of wetland in Asia and the directions which we have to move toward the conservation of Asian wetland. And so this session, we have some management issue, conservation issue, and restoration issue. So we'll have a coastal sites and also some inland wetland. So please before we begin, we have 4 or 5 minutes. So maybe very briefly introduce yourself so we get to know each other, and then we'll start number one presentation. First, Dr. Ajit Patnaik, please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Dr. Ajit Patnaik. At the moment, I'm Vice President of Wetlands International South Asia and stationed at Delhi. I'm also a World Bank short-term consultant, and I'm a retired forester. I'm from Indian Forest Service, superannuated a couple of years back, and I was involved in restoration of Chilika Lake. It's a Ramsar site, and worked there for about 12 to 13 years. And I'm also a member of Ramsar Center Japan, who is a organizer of this Asian Wetland Symposium along with RRC-EA. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Maria, can you introduce yourself? Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I am Maria Rechi Alaba. I prefer to be called Rechi. And so I am the research officer for the Tubataha Reefs Natural Park in the Philippines. It's a coral reef area. It's quite huge, around 100,000 hectares. And it can be reached through a boat ride that's 10 to 12 hours from Puerto Princesa City in the province of Palawan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we move to Nepal. Pokhara.
Hello, this is Jido Guru from Nepal. On the behalf of Pokhara, I am talking about this our paper this time.
Yeah.
We have urgent meeting in the next session. Then
Okay.
I am attend that program. Okay.
What part of, speak loudly, what part of Nepal are you in?
I am from Kathmandu from right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But we work in the Pokhara site.
Okay,
Finally,
okay.
we work together and we prepare a paper for presentation for this Asian Wetland Symposium.
Okay.
And
And
in the urgent meeting in next part of the office, then I am attending this one.
yeah.
Okay. I managed to manage the time to attend the program. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And next, our Lakshmikant Sharma, India. Please, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Myself, Dr. L.K. Sharma, and I'm from Central University of Rajasthan. It's a central university, and which is situated in the nearby Thar Desert region in India. And it's a fully functional central funded university. And I'm associate professor here in the Environmental Science Department, School of Earth Sciences. And I'm working in last couple of years in the wetland, because nearby we have very important saline wetland is there in Sambar Lake, which is very prominent, Asia's largest saline wetland. So I'm working on this one, and I'm basically an environmental remote sensing expert. So I'm working in that particular field. So many habitat suitability models, forest fire estimations, biomass estimations, and so many other environmental related areas. And right now, with the link of the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, we have so many projects we are working also, and different team projects are also there. Before that, I was faculty of the Birla Institute of Technology, Mesra, Ranchi, and different type of project related to the wetlands and environmental related and protections, environmental monitoring and assessment using the LiDAR and hyperspectral remote sensing, very advanced field. So we are working in that way. Our team is working in that way.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Professor Sharma, thank you very much. I personally, my laboratory members are doing some research on village pond of India. And this is very important landscape, cultural landscape, which we should protect before it disappear. So I am pushing hard to Indian government to save a small village pond. So we digitized 25,000 small ponds, as all size, purpose, and conservation needs, and so on. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we have only 4 presentations, but we will begin. Dr. Patnaik. Dr. Patnaik is a Ramsar Award winner, and also he's done. He is globally well known for his work on restoration of Chilika Lagoon, and also his involvement in many conservation of lakes. So today we are going to hear the bird sanctuary within the Chilika Lagoon, and I heard over 1 million birds arriving or enjoying the habitat. I was there long time ago. I can see the bird in 5 minutes distance. Very rare species I can see visually. So please give us your presentation, and I'm sure exciting revisit to the Chilika Lagoon. Please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your kind words. I'll begin my presentation. So I'd like to share my screen. My title of my presentation is a bit long. I think it's very kind of it's a research, and this research was conducted in Chilika Lake and involving the local communities. I think local communities were part of this research. And just to begin, I'll just like to make a mention about the context. I mean, why this study was launched. This is applicable to all the protected areas. Which are where the wetlands are situated inside, because a number of wetlands, including Ramsar sites globally, are within the protected areas. And commonly, what happens, there is a lot of restriction on use of resources from the protected area by the communities, rather the dependent communities is imposed, which impair the wise use of the resources by the dependent communities from the wetland. And this results in conflict between the protected area managers and the local communities, which adversely impacts the livelihood as well as the conservation of protected area due to the hostile attitude of the dependent communities. In a number of sites, this escalates to such a proposition that the protected area ecosystem degrade and the livelihood of the dependent communities also jeopardized. So I think this is a kind of very sad situation, which is commonly encountered in many protected areas. The Nalaban case study, which I'll be presenting, it demonstrates how participatory research to demonstrate the ecosystem services from healthy protected area is immensely beneficial for the well-being of the local communities. And the case study presents how the ecosystem services which flow quietly from the protected area, thus used to get unnoticed by the local communities, could be demonstrated scientifically to change the perception of the local community so that they could realize the contribution from the PA protected area for enhancement of their livelihood and well-being. This led to a win-win situation, and the age-old conflict could be resolved through this scientific study. So this is the core of this presentation. Within next 10 minutes, I'll be just sharing with you the outcome of this. Okay, so now just to familiarize you with the Chilika Lake. Chilika Lake is the largest coastal wetland along the east coast of India and the first Ramsar site of India. It is about 1,000 square kilometers. Pretty, I mean, the size is pretty big, and a small island, which is known as Nalavan Sanctuary, is situated within this. And this wetland support the livelihood of more than 0.2 million fishers, and it's a hotspot of biodiversity, and about 1 million migratory birds, the chairperson has already mentioned, visit this area. So it is very important from conservation point of view, as well as the livelihood. And precisely, the Nalavan Sanctuary is this tiny, white, small, 15.53 square kilometer within the lake. And it was designated as a protected sanctuary in 1973. Once it was notified, the fishing activities which happened to be there were prohibited completely as per the Wildlife Protection Act of India, right? So once this happened, so it used to be a highly potential fishing ground, and government used to lease out this area for fishing to the local communities till 1973. After notification of the protected area, fishing was banned in the sanctuary area since from 1973. This resulted in huge conflict between the local fishers and the protected area managers. And this turned from bad to worse day by day. And as the defiant fishers tried to sneak into the sanctuary and are apprehended by the protected area, so there happened to be a tension between the managers and the local community. And at one point of time, when I was chief executive of Chilika Development Authority, the divisional forest officer or the protected area manager begged me, why don't you, kind of provide us about 10 to 20 automatic rifles so that we can, scare away these people. So it was so bad, I think. Then I started thinking how to, kind of resolve this issue. This is pretty interesting. You can see these are the fish cage, and you can see this is the sanctuary, and this red line is the sanctuary boundary, right? The 15 square kilometer boundary. And these fishers, when they were driven out of the sanctuary, they used to lay their shrimp trap. This shrimp, they catch tiger prawn, which is pretty, kind of in the international market. It has got a high price. So they put the trap just outside the boundary because they can't get into the sanctuary, but they are allowed to, kind of, because this is a Ramsar site, so wide use of the wetland is permitted. So, they put their trap, and very interestingly, we could notice that they get bumper catch from these traps, which are laid all along these are the fish trap, high density fish trap just outside the sanctuary boundary, right? So what happened? We tried to just kind of imagine why they get a good catch from this just outside the boundary. And then we could, kind of presume that this could be apparently due to a conducive habitat created for the spawning and nursery of the fish species inside the undisturbed area of the sanctuary. Perhaps once, kind of this area became tranquil or undisturbed, perhaps it created some kind of very good conducive ground for spawning and acted as nursery for the fish species. So that's why, kind of it became a good area for a fishing ground. So then we tried to, kind of further, kind of expand our postulation. Then we thought that the ecosystem services, which are quietly contributed by the sanctuary, has gone obviously unnoticed by the local fishers. For the ecosystem services paradigm to be relevant to the resource-dependent communities, it is essential to generate awareness and their perception about it. Because many a times, kind of the common people, they may not able to particularly the regulating and services and which are not tangible or kind of are not monetized, that won't come into. They can't notice that. So this necessitated the present study to establish how the flow of ecosystem services quietly from the sanctuary is positively contributing to the lake fishery based on sound scientific evidences through participatory research. So we thought that if it is done by the scientists, how it would be communicated to the local community. So we tried to, kind of also make them partner. So this is a very interesting participatory research, which was very successful. So what we did, the study was carried out from 2011 to 2014, and along with the researcher, the local fishers, they were also, we collaborated with them, whether their boat, and they were, kind of, they became completely in sampling as well as, kind of when everything was made from the day one, they became a part of it. I think they were just explained that to how when they see and they find that there are some spawners, or they find some eggs, or they find some juveniles. So they were explained to them that, see, this is what we are going to do here. And the objective was to enhance the understanding and perception of local fishers about how the undisturbed sanctuary area, acting as a potential nursery and spawning ground for fish and finfish, shellfish, and positively contributing to the lake fishery, which is benefiting them immensely. The study was carried out, as I have already mentioned, involving the local fishers. And this is the methodology, which is very simple, what we followed. The 15 square kilometer sanctuary was divided in 4 sectors, depending upon the depth and kind of seagrass meadows and other such characters. And we also put 4 controls, which are 1.4 kilometer on an average, or 1.5 kilometer from the sanctuary boundary. So these are the control 4. And inside the sanctuary, we had 4 stations. So from there, we collected water quality, nutrient, plankton, then juvenile abundance, matured spawners, then resident fish species, post larvae, and fertilized eggs. So these are something, basically it is focused on to demonstrate why it is contributing, how it is contributing to the rich fishery. Then most importantly, the study was carried out involving the local fishers. I'm overemphasizing it because this is what was the most kind of valuable part of this study. Then what was observed? We observed that macroalgae and organic detritus are known to be preferred food by the mullets. Mullets is a group of fish which is highly priced, and kind of when the chairperson visited Chilica, I don't know whether he still remembers the taste of those pretty tasty mullets. And also we found that these are abundantly kind of available in the sanctuary. And the zooplankton abundance was dominated by the copepods, which is again a preferred food for the fish. And abundant seagrass meadows of Halophila ovalis, we found that they provide shelter for the juveniles, and which were abundantly found in the sanctuary area, testifying the study area as a potential nursery ground for the fish and shellfish. And we could find 45 fish species which visit the sanctuary, and that is serving as a feeding and nursery ground, and 11 resident fish species, they are spawning there and contributing significantly to the lake fishery. So these are, kind of through these 4 years, we could encounter them. Then about 10 economic species of mullets, then kind of other threadfin, and even some of the shrimp. So they were all at different, starting from the gravid stage up to the juvenile, and kind of some fertilized eggs. So they're all collected, identified, and so also the sampling was done at the control sites. Above findings indicated that the juvenile fishes are attracted to the study area because of abundant availability of the food materials, and no evidence of spawning of finfish or shellfish and potential nursery ground for juvenile fishes and shellfishes from the control station, which was outside the sanctuary. So when we compared, we could not find no match between the sanctuary stations and outside the station. So these phenomenon was not happening over there. So so this is what kind of all these evidences were recorded, analyzed. I'm not putting the real kind of details here. So then the ecosystem of Nalvan Bird Sanctuary, if you see, you can see here that this is the fish trap zone, and then this is the sanctuary, which is only 15 square kilometer, right? So this is the setup, and here what we could find that the bird normally 0.4 million bird they congregate here. So the guanos, or the dropping from the bird, that kind of results in leading to some of the phytoplankton. So that guanos, they produce, lead to a lot of phytoplankton grow there, and that is grazed by the zooplankton. So zooplanktons are abundantly available, predominantly the copepods. And here, so this is how this abundant food, it kind of attracts the fish, and also the seagrass meadows, they also kind of provide great shelter for the kind of, or act as a nursery. So this become an ideal kind of habitat for the fish. So then we wondered, how a bird sanctuary kind of is also equally kind of important sanctuary for the fish, because it creates a conducive atmosphere, and this is complementary. The bird guanos during the migratory season, it creates these sort of kind of good prey base, or the food base, which turns into a good fishery ground. So these was kind of in a very simple term explained to the fishers. So then zooplankton fish. Okay. So now what we did after this, we could conclude that there are 11 species of native fish they spawn there, and 45 species use it as a nursery. So once they grow, they normally move into the lake. So as this is the conclusion, comparison of the overall ecological parameters of Nalvan Sanctuary area and control station suggests that the sanctuary area is more favorable for nursery ground than the control sites in the open lake area. The evaluation of all ecological parameters of Nalvan Sanctuary area established that the protected sanctuary of area offers productive aquatic habitat for finfish and shellfish in Chelika Lake. And Nalvan Sanctuary as a potential fish habitat is rich in available natural food elements, that is zooplankton, benthic organism, bottom biota, and benthic filamentous algae, and organic detritus. So these are something which really kind of conducive for the fish and shellfish and finfish. And the outcome of the study demonstrated convincingly to the local fishers how undisturbed protected area is serving as a sanctuary for fish, then bird, and in maintaining the ecosystem. So now with this, what are the takeaways from this study? The outcome of the study changed the perception of the local fishers about the sanctuary and ecosystem services it provides. Also, it resolved the long-standing conflict between the protected area manager and the local communities for last 30 to 40 years. So they realized that the protected area is helping in building the fish stock, vital for lake fishery and their livelihood. They could understand that undisturbed habitat in the sanctuary area is beneficial for the fishery, leading to better fish stock as essential for sustainable and resilient livelihood. The 4 decades old conflict between Forest Department, protected area, and the fishers was resolved sustainably and permanently, rather I would say. Now the fishers are requesting for creation of more such tranquil area. So they are requesting the protected area managers, why don't you create more such tranquil areas? So just imagine, I think at one stage, the protected area manager wanted some automatic rifles, and the fishers, they were, kind of agitating. They were, kind of trying to sneak into the sanctuary. They were poaching the bird, and they were, yes, quite hostile to the protected area. Now, this is the last sentence from my learning. Participatory research lead to informed stakeholders, translating scientific findings into practice, thus help in connecting ecosystem to the communities and facilitate resource efficient and resolute management, right? So thank you for your kind attention, and I'll stop here and over to chairperson.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a wonderful talk, and participatory research can change the view of ecosystem service, especially Nalabana Bird Sanctuary. I think Bird Sanctuary is very shallow area compared to other part of Chilika Lagoon. And we now have chatting box some important questions. For example, how did you balance the ecosystem services and economic activities of local people at the beginning? I mean, I have the same question. Now people realize the value of the bird sanctuary as a nursery area for entire Kilika Lagoon. But at the beginning, what was balance between economic activity and the bird sanctuary issue?
Right. I think wonderful question. Initially, what happened? That is the problem when there is no dialogue between the two parties, like the protected area manager and the local community. The local community used to, kind of think that these protected area managers are our enemy, and they are, kind of encroaching into our livelihood. At times, what happens? There is, kind of in the management, the protected area managers, they think that only by preventing the local fishers to enter into the protected area, the sanctuary management would improve and the bird would be protected. But they never try to understand the ecosystem of the sanctuary. They never understand what happened to the guanos. I mean, how these, kind of, it's also, so the ecosystem-based management, I think the ecosystem approach was lacking, right? So here we also try to, now the protected area managers, they also understand. I think that that's what, yeah. So that is the gap. So through this participatory research, that gap could be, many a times the knowledge can solve many problems sustainably. So this is very simple. I mean, just, kind of making aware both the parties. So, and this led to a win-win situation. Yes.
Okay. Bishnu, Dr. Bishnu Bandari asked a question. Could you kindly let me know who are stakeholders of your participatory research? And this question is, related to your statement at the beginning. Ecosystem service healthy protected area is immensely beneficial for the well-being of local people, but people used to get unnoticed by the local community. So this participatory research proved this is a very vital part of entire Chilica. But again, who are the stakeholder? I mean, at the beginning, I mean, the fishermen volunteer the research, or they got support from other external source, or CDA wants to emphasize this area is very important for local fishery as well as ecotourism, as well as Irrawaddy dolphin watching, and then bird watching, all is mixture. I mean, what's your opinion?
Yes, again, very, wonderful question. Here, that's what I mentioned. We try to, I kind of, at the beginning, I mentioned that this sanctuary area used to be leased out to 3 villages for fishing. I think they were doing capture fishery inside this area, which was not designated as a sanctuary. Soon after the day it was notified, immediately, they were just, evicted out of that. They were not allowed to get into that area. So that was the heartburning, because they used to say that birds are coming, fine, but for the sake of the bird, you are, encroaching upon our livelihood and our children are dying. So that was their, argument. And they used to agitate, and they were just resisting that this should be denotified and this should be allowed to fish inside the sanctuary. When they found that, yes, its government is not going to denotify it, they started putting the trap at the periphery of the sanctuary, because that is allowed, because the lake is a Ramsar site and wise use of the lake, the wetlands is allowed. So they were doing that, but still then they try to, because their number is more. So from the periphery, they were not able to, get the adequate catch to sustain their family. So then we made these people as our stakeholder. I think we thought that unless these people, but we are knowing that, something good is happening inside the sanctuary. So if these people are, convinced, and they are demonstrated that by sneaking into the sanctuary, destroying the, this spawning grounds, and when they get into the lake, I mean, this sanctuary, because it's pretty small, in 100 numbers, defying these, so they used to totally ravage the area. So the entire spawning was, everything they used to, even whatever bird they used to catch, they used to kill, and say something like this. Very, very, unscientific thing, and I mean, it was all chaos. So we involved these people. They became our stakeholder. We tried to, so CDA conducted this research. This research was conducted by CGA, this is scientific part, but at the same time, community were also involved, and they were paid their wage for this. I think they're supposing the monthly monitoring, when it was happening in rotation, we were taking their boat, and instead of for that they were paid, and for this entire thing, sieving and everything, they were in coming to the laboratory doing. So they were involved, and for all these days they were paid. So that was the research project, and was sponsored by CT.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I wish we have more time, and I think this is a very important when local people often they don't realize the ecosystem service of important protected area, but it seems to me now for 20 some years of continued effort, now we feel very comfortable with Chilica Lagoon, some balance between economic activity, conservation, and tourism, and all this, work like a very delicate watch. It works. It seems to me it works very well. And I think we would like to hear some other time more, a detailed description of stakeholder issue. I mean, Chilika is always provide wonderful case studies. And thank you very much for your good, introduction of participatory research on the sanctuary. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we now move to second presentation. Dr. Sharma and is a professor of Central University of Rajasthan, and he's an associate professor, and he will give us very high tech geotech GIS work on inland saline wetland. Please.
Thank you so much, Chair, for providing me the opportunity for presentation. And I would like to just initiate the things that how the geospatial technology right now very well working in the particular in wetland studies particularly. So one of the case studies I would like to present here, which is relevant to the Sambar Salt Lake, which is a saline wetland, Asia's largest saline wetland. And one of my student, a PhD student, already yesterday presented a presentation regarding the pre-COVID and post-COVID and COVID situations, how we can manage and monitoring the this wetland studies. So this is again the comeback in that particular section. So my topic is the presentation is advanced geospatial technology partners for inland saline wetlandscape, a case study of Asia's largest wetland, saline wetland, Sambar Lake. I no need to define the Ramsar convention, Ramsar definition. So areas of mass, fan, peatland of water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh, brackish or salt, including areas of marine water, the depth of which at low tide does not exceed 6 meters, that is comes under the Ramsar definition of the wetland. So it is well understood and fortunately this is well defined for the Sambar Salt Lake also. So that's why we have just chosen this one as a case study for this one. Now, different type of wetlands are there, and definitely the marine, estuarine, riverine, equestrian, and pedestrian. All these wetlands are very important in their own phenomena, but definitely the salt wetland is also an unique importance in this regard. So inland water bodies generally covering the majority of inland waters are lakes and other are rivers, streams, ponds, etc. Lake constitute of water bodies coupled with its drainage areas, lotic water components, and terrestrial counterpart. These are mostly shallow and are primarily inland fresh or saline waters. So you see the 99% of the particular part is saline and 1% is for non-saline. So saline lakes are so important as located in the mostly in the arid region or the semi-arid region of the some of the countries like India, and endorheic basins are there. And some of the inland lakes are characterized by the presence of 3 gram per liter salts that is already studied in 2001 by Wetzel. And role of saline lakes, you see how the recharge and sites of the migratory birds are there, support for invertebrates with high salinity, high rate of productivity than freshwater lakes. And some of the recreational activities like bird watching, fishing, boatings, and so many other activities are also there. So, and saline lakes are also providing the $1 million businesses from brine, shrimp, and flies. So these are also a very important tool to the study of this type of the saline wetland studies. So which is already understood that the vertical, how much gradients is there, and particularly the sodium and carbonates and so many other minerals are major anions and cations are also involved with this one. So like the trophic structure, the tertiary consumers like bird and resident and migratory birds are there. From the primary producers like halophytes and heliophytes, different type of the primary producers are also important in the particular ecosystem development, and particularly the primary productions per unit area, per unit time period. Primary productivity will define, and ultimately it will be read to the tertiary consumers in terms of the migratory birds also, which is the food available sources also there. So major threats now these days is that agriculture diversion is also there, boundary shrinkage. That is the main problem in our Sambar Salt Lake ecosystem, because it's a great loss due to the encroaching area by the local villagers for production of the salt. So that is a great challenge to this wetland ecosystems conservations. Wetland conservation, that is also conservation strategy is also there. Hunting and poaching, that is another great threat right now. And the pollution, definitely pollution is also because in that particular wetland, nearby area is Sambar's salt city is there. And Sambar's city, all the effluents are just drainage to the particular this wetland system. So that is the water pollution is majority amount will create the great problem to conserve this type of natural wetland particularly. So, and decreasing water depth also, because so many illegal water pumps are running in that area for the production of the salt, and lot of the peoples are surrounding peoples are totally dependent on this illegal salt production. So this is also a very major threat to the particular things. So now we have taken for this one as a different type of studies we have taken, but remote sensing approach we have taken for this one, and particularly different type of platforms like different scientific papers, and but very less number of the papers are available on the Sambar Salt Lake right now. And fortunately, we are going to publish our one of the important paper in PLOS 1. Very recently, it will be published, and it is already accepted. And I think that will create the whole entire scenario of this Great Salt Lake. Now you see how the methodology for this particular study was created, and some of the intense review was created, data cleaning, and this lake is, I would just like to tell you that this lake is particularly developed at the time of British era, when the Britishers was in India. So British time period, their salt production was very highest amount in their particular wetland. And economically, it is very important. But right now, the condition of this lake is very deteriorating. And somehow, after some time, I can believe that this may not be the Ramsar site. So this is an alarming situation for the this particular lake. That maybe or not maybe the Ramsar site is, the logo is there. So we have thoroughly reviewed all these papers. We have particularly 720 papers were collected in our study. And after aggregation, according to code words, each one had following number of papers. And, from lakes to the saline lakes, different parameters are there. But fortunately, we have taken for the saline wetlands, accordingly, 300 papers of saline wetlands are there. And we have chosen for this one for the further study in this regard. So major themes in which the researchers are conducted are like lake, water, sediments, geochemistry, evolution, basin, phytoplankton, blooms, dissolved oxygen matter, chlorophyll concentrations. And we have taken MERIS data for the chlorophyll concentration. So that is also available free of cost. And for the biomass estimations, that is also a very important terminology we are using for this one. So all these things are created with the remote sensing approach. And you see, these are some of the papers we have a combinedly aspect of developed regarding this lake phenomena and remote sensing technology, how this is very relevant to this study. Some of the UAVs and LiDAR and hyperspectral microwave, all these remote sensing are recently available. So that type of the study we are just conducting right now. And we are using also the AI and big data analysis for the study of the lakes. So case study in the Sambal Salt Lake, it's a Ramsar site right now, 464 important bird area. And surface area is 225 kilometers square. Catchment is 5,52,000 hectare of this one. And this lake is particularly three district of the Rajasthan, prominently the Ajmer district, Jaipur district, and Nagaur district. In between them, this lake is occupied, and the total area is semi-arid, or you can say the very dense arid region is there in between them. And climatic tropical monsoon average rainfall 500 millimeter is there. So average summer temperature of this area is 24 to 36 degree and winter temperature 11 to 31 degrees centigrade. So you see, this is the lake area where it is situated, Ajmer, Jaipur, and Nagaur district in Rajasthan. And Rajasthan is the third desert part is there. So the western part is totally desert, and this lake is very much indicator for the particularly climate change situations also. So in that particular angle, we are also going to study in that way. And some of the area of this lake is also surrounded with the Aravalli hill range. This is the primitive hill range from throughout the world, and it is very, very unique, showing that the desertifications or the other aspect is also so important in that terminology. And major threats already provide the awareness regarding the particular things in local newspaper, national newspapers, and so many other studies also. One of the illegal salt pens, that is the NGT, National Green Tribunal bench of the Rajasthan government, also providing some of the threatened situations also. That's why I'm telling that this Ramsar site status may be, so after some time it may be losing by this one, if the proper intention is not given to them. So this is the way that this is nearby our university. That's why we have taken this one as a study area, and we are trying to develop a good mechanism to provide the basic management tool for the ecosystem conservation of this particular lake conservations. And these are the field photographs that so many flamingos were there, but right now the flamingos is very, very deteriorating conditions, and migratory birds were in the 90,000s, more than 50,000, and in lakhs the migratory birds was there. But right now the situation is very, very deteriorating, and it's an alarming situation to protect this type of unique, saline wetland. Particularly this one. So you see the illegal pumping of the groundwater. Local villagers are illegal pumping, and they are catching the water for the production of the salt. So all these are the salt productions are illegal. And Sambar Salt Lake Limited, that is the original authority which is providing supporting by the government of India. They have known all these activities, but still the situation is very, very deteriorating due to some of the mismanagement of all these things. So some of the important religious places are also in and around of this river lake, the bank of this river. So this is also a very important and unique recreational site also. So government is already planning to develop this lake in terms of this recreational activities only. But the other aspect of the ecological aspect and the migratory bird aspect and all these things, that is totally neglected. And any surprising fact is that in Rajasthan, any wetland management authorities is functional right now. And so very recently, before 2 years, before the pandemic era, a lot of migratory birds was died, and the government was taken the action plan, and immediately action was taken. But still, a proper management and proper wetland conservation authority establishment is needed in that particular sense. So now I'm telling that I'm working with the remote sensing mechanism for this one. So without touching the object, we are getting the information and providing the data. So in that particular context, the active and passive, both the sensor we are using, likewise the LiDAR and the hyperspectral remote sensing, microwave remote sensing, and the optical remote sensing, all these sensing technologies we are using right now. And around 30 to 40 PhD, this one MSc dissertation work is already done under my supervision. And we have taken part of from chemical reaction, geochemistry to the ecosystem parameters. We have taken all these parameters for this study. So optical remote sensing, providing the different Landsat and Sentinel data is recently providing the highest resolution data. But due to some of the species specific determinations, that is required the health assessment and all these regularly monitoring by this one, and the land cover changes we are analyzing at the landscape level. Migratory birds habitat modeling, that is also we are doing. Soil sanitary condition mapping and the helophytic biomass assessment, that type of study we are doing also. With the microwave remote sensing SAR data, that is also a European Union, European Commission data, which is freely available. And fortunately, we have the data for ALOS pulsar, that is the JAXA, Japanese remote sensing exploration space agency data. That is also provided by the Space Application Center, Ahmedabad. So we are also using the SAR data for ALOS pulsar L-band data for the bathymetric and the soil moisture analysis in that particular study of the Sambar Salt Lake. So this is the C-band and X-band data is very, very important, and the study is going on currently. So, hyperspectral remote sensing, every NG data is also providing from the ISRO also, and we are using for the Hyperion and every NG, very 420 bands are there, and each and every species for particular algal blooms, which is providing the food of this migratory birds. Basically, we are going to discriminate different type of algae from this hyperspectral tools, and going to develop spectral signatures for each and every specific specific algal blooms, so that we know that how much biomass can be produced and how much the reliability of this particular habitat, ecosystem habitat, can be managed in future. So these are the hyperspectral data we are using, and particularly the LiDAR data using some of the, not only more data is available right now, but some of the CSET or CSET2 CSET2 data is already available. So we are just trying to develop to merge the hyperspectral and the LiDAR data for estimating the biomass and how species level demarcations or in-depth level of the study we can develop in that way. So it is also currently doing this type of job, and not only the canopy cover estimations or canopy height estimations, vertical forest structures in the nearby areas, species identification, that is also the LiDAR data can be also usable. So Sambar Lake study is unmanned aerial vehicles. We are also trying to purchase this one, and we have tried for the very good, a specific project we have already submitted to the ministry for the conservation and protection or the management of this Sambar Salt Lake saline ecosystem. But the government is totally providing, the situation is different, and the actual site situation is totally different. So the things is that this is the very bad situation right now, and I can say that it's an alarming situation. That's why I'm just putting this scenario to the community of this wetlands, Asia's wetland peoples, that this type of study should be encouraged. And I think it should be identify the hotspot, so that this type of study may be alarming to the other government agencies also. So this is the uses of the Ramsar Lake, and artificial intelligence AI and Google Earth Engine platform is already providing so many data. So we are also trying to develop a good mechanism for Google Earth Engine, providing space by which we are providing the unique platform to data management, and ultimately the Earth observations, particularly the Ramsar Lake, can be developed. And near future, we will also, I'm just like to telling to that we are doing 2 or 3 PhDs is going on right now, and we are just developing a tool or mechanism by which how we can develop and monitor the particular changes in the Ramsar Lake, and it's a great management tool to create the things in the group.
Okay.
So the conclusion is that this Ramsar Lake is the least study conducted on inland saline lake, first one. There are few researchers conducted on lakes using remote sensing. That is another issue. And since the wetlands are degrading 3 times faster than tropical forest, and saline lakes are highly neglected, there is urgent need of using remote sensing technology to develop this type of things. And again, the point is that this technology can accelerate the monitoring, management, restoration at landscape level to check pollution, illegal activities, and invasive species. So that from this one, I would just like to finish my presentation. And
thank you. Thank you, Professor Sharma. And I think you beautifully explained the Shambhar Lake in Rajasthan, Jaipur, is near New Delhi. Is that right?
Yeah.
And I think the length 22 kilometers.
It's a very historic place and very, tourism activity, tourist place, basically. A great
Yeah. And I think you pointed very important. We know the saline lakes are disappearing very rapidly. So we have 2 comments in chatting box. Dr. Bandari and also Dr. Patnaik both asked a very similar question. You listed all the threat to the lake at the moment based on your high-tech study, and the question is, this lake is a Ramsar site, but it's included in the Montreux record, and because of deterioration of quality, and then you are emphasizing all different approaches to identify pollution, shrinkage of water or illegal activities, and also invasive plant and chlorophyll A or whatever. So their question is, what is the best way to reverse the trend at the moment? I mean, you also raised the point, and many government sector, international sector will look on this problem. But what is the most urgent approach to reverse the trend?
Yeah, very, very relevant questions, and I'm very thankful that our senior most persons are thinking like that, because it's a very urgent attention is required. So as my point of view, that the first step should be that the wetland authority should be established by the government of Rajasthan at first. Wetland Management and Monitoring Authority, first one. Second one, the illegal approach, illegal encroaching and the water consumption, illegal water consumption from the lake for the production of the salt, that should be immediately stopped. So this type of the situation should be the second one. And the third one is that proper management planning. Proper management planning is required for further areas also, and particularly not only for this time, for the 50 years away, how the progress and how will we can develop the and manage the particular wetland, that should be also properly managed. So management area should be focused, and how the recreational and other activities should be balanced, that should also be created. So the recreational zone and the economic production zone and the other ecological habitat suitability zone, that zone should be identified and it should be collaboratively manage the things. And the fourth point is that that should be immediate attention is that those persons who are working in the field, like to adopt the mechanism of the ecosystem study or the wetland studies, they should be also they should be also collaborate with the some of the technological part, so that the effective management tool can be developed, and it should and they will provide the time to time update to the government agencies that they should do this type of approach so that we can conserve our natural resources.
Okay.
So that is my
thank you for your answer. And the government authority recognize this problem now?
Yeah, they are recognizing, but the some of the issues, because lot of the government officials and lot of the politicians resorts are making there. So many other aspects is also there. So they don't want to create the things like that. But after all, after some time, we are suffering from the global climate change situation. Everywhere this type of situation is going on, and now the pandemic situation we are suffering. So at least we have to stop all these things at a time. And this is the time, this is the high time that we should think about this one. That is my wishes in that regard.
Okay. I hope your university and you can continue work on this issue, and hopefully some other Asian friends, wetland friends can also make comments on this issue, and then maybe Indian government or Rajasthan government can put more emphasis to protect this beautiful wetland. Okay. And
I
think
also welcome to all of the participants, all of the community of the wetlands, that if they are willing to show their own interest in that particular field, they are most welcome to do the collaborative research work and so many other activities we are doing there.
Well, since you already explained all the directions and future activities, research activities, hopefully our Asian friend will continuously communicate with you, and hopefully this lake can find some better way to protect. And I think it was a beautiful presentation, and we'll continue to collaborate since you already deeply involved in protection of this system. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Chair. I think Dr. Patnaik has a comment.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Chair. I think I must commend Professor Sharma for excellent presentation. And it's good that he is walking very close to a Ramsar site, which is unfortunately in the Montreux record for last 30 years. I think we can imagine it's in the Montreux record for 30 years. And as he rightly mentioned, there is no authority. Nobody knows who is managing it. That's why I wanted, to just make a request to him that unless the scientific research is very important and it's essential, yes, but the findings, unless it is put into practice, I mean, the presentation was basically it is kind of centered around that the scientific finding, unless it is kind of translated into action. So you kindly, I'm in contact, because the forest department Rajasthan is the kind of they're responsible, and the High Court recently, Rajasthan High Court has given a directive to the government of Rajasthan to immediately come up with a plausible solution. And coincidentally, I'm also an expert member for that. Rajasthan High Court is so we have already visited and recommended what you said. All are there in our recommendation. Okay. Now it is up to the government for the authority for research, monitoring, involving the academic institution, where I believe they would rope in with you, and your study would be very valuable for the monitoring. So everything we have recommended for long term. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much for your comments, and hope next time we make some progress on this Wetland Management Authority issue. And I think that's what I understand. We need a solid management authority on this case. Thank you. We'll move to Philippines. Okay, Maria. Let's see. We move to Philippines marine protected area. Coral Reef. She's a research officer at Palawan. Please.
All right. So I'm Maria Recci Alaba. I'm the research officer of the Tubataha Reefs Natural Park. And I think some of my co-authors are also participants to this session. And so I'll be presenting the restoration of black noddy, Anus minutus versus Terry, in Tubataha Reefs Natural Park. Tubataha is located in the Philippines. It's in the west, in the beautiful island of Palawan, and it's situated in the middle of the Sulu Sea. It is managed under a no-take policy and only allows two activities, which are research and dive tourism. It was declared as a marine protected area in August 1988 and covers a total of 97,030 hectares, 10,000 hectares of which is composed of coral reef. It has an additional 10 nautical mile buffer zone when Republic Act 10067, or the Tubataha Reefs Natural Park Act, was enacted in 2010. So this law is very specific for the protection of the park. The park has two uninhabited islets. The larger one is called the Bird Islet. It is approximately 2 hectares and holds 97% of the seabird population in the park. There's a smaller islet, just around half a hectare, in the southern tip of the park. It's where the lighthouse is, and it holds the rest of the 3% of the seabird population. Both of these islets are actually off for tourists. Tubataha is both a World Heritage Site and an ASEAN Heritage Park. In 1999, it was declared as a Ramsar Wetland of International Importance, just like our previous presenter. In 2001, it was listed as an important bird area. And in 2015, we became a member of the East Asian Australasian Flyway. We have a total of 7 breeding species, 5 breeds on the ground. These are brown booby, brown noddy, great crested tern, sooty tern, and the masked booby. The 2 other breeding species would nest on the trees. These are the red-footed booby and the black noddy. Black noddy is very widespread in the Western and Central Pacific Ocean and more scattered across the Caribbean and Central Atlantic, and also in the Northeast Indian Ocean. It has a total of 7 subspecies. According to the 2018 IUCN assessment, the global population trend is stable, That is why it was listed as least concern in the IUCN Red List. In the Philippines, we have one of the 7 subspecies. The subspecies Worcesteri. Our office, as a conservation office, pays special attention to this black noddy subspecies because it is endemic, and Tubataha remains the last rookery for this species in the country. Historically, these species were recorded breeding in the nearby islands of Cagayancillo. But since the islands, as well as the other remote islands in the world, are already occupied by people, then black noddy no longer have place in these islands. This highlights the importance of uninhabited islands for seabird population to thrive. In 2017, it was listed in Appendix 2 on the Convention for the Conservation of Migratory Species, making it the Philippines' commitment to the international community to protect this subspecies. In 2019, the Philippine Department of Environment and Natural Resources classified black noddy as endangered under the National List of Threatened Fauna. Some factors that contributed to the inscription of black noddy as endangered in the Philippines include the habitat competition with red-footed booby, which started arriving in the park in 2004. Due to over-fertilization of trees with bird droppings, as well as prolonged drought, the vegetation, which included Pesonia grandis, Heliotropium, Fortherianum, and Chivola tacada in the 2 islets began to decline. Because of the loss of vegetation coupled with strong waves and typhoons, the islets have eroded. Marine debris is another major anthropogenic threat to the black noddy population. 90% of the seabird nests incorporate plastic trash from the sea. Many birds have died from entanglement or strangulation by fishing lines and plastic materials. We have been monitoring the population of seabirds in the park since 2004. As you see in the graph, the general decline in the adult population of black noddy followed the decline in the vegetation, except for a few discrepancies in the data. For example, 2012, where we observed an increase in vegetation, which might be due to the counting of trees differently because they had branched out. The increase in the 2015 population may be related to other environmental factors. Nevertheless, the decline in black noddy population in Bird Islet began in 2009. In South Islet, the data is presented in the graph. So the decline in Bird Islet in 2009 coincided with the increase in population in South Islet in 2010. This may suggest that they transferred from Bird Islet to South Islet because the latter had better vegetation then. In 2014, the trees in South Islet started to decline as well. This may be influenced by the increase in the number of both the red-footed booby and the black noddy that year. The deterioration of vegetation continued since. The peak in the black noddy population in South Islet in 2016, as you see in the graph, coincided with a drop in Bird Islet. It is likely that they relocated. In 2019, there were no more black noddy in South Islet due to loss of vegetation and the construction of a new lighthouse. To address this decline, the following interventions were made by park authorities. Since the breeding of black noddy was greatly affected by the loss of vegetation in both islets, we started to build temporary nesting structures. These are the ones that you see in the photos. We start building them in Bird Islet in 2017 and in South Islet in 2019. We used biodegradable materials such as bamboo poles and lumber. So for 4 years now, we have been experimenting on the different design and continuously building these nesting structures to provide breeding areas for the black noddy. In developing these structures, we were able to solicit the advice of other seabird conservation practitioners, specifically from the Pacific Seabird Group. Because of this intervention in Bird Islet in 2017, we recorded a 200% increase in the number of black noddy from 2017 to 2018. The slight decrease you will observe in 2019 was possibly due to the insufficient number of breeding materials. The black noddy re-established their territory in the nesting structures in South Islet in 2019. The number of breeding adults in 2020 was 33% of their 2018 population. For 3 years now, we have been experimenting on the design and continuously building these artificial nesting structures to provide breeding areas for the black noddy. As you see in these photos, we have adapted different designs, including the vertical ones, and also we have designed slanting ones to see which one worked better for the black noddy. All of the black noddy now breeds in these structures because there are no more trees in both islets. But because of the weight of the nest and also the natural degradation of the materials, the bamboo structure started to collapse after 2 years. So beginning in 2020, we experimented on more stable designs using PVC and steel pipes. So those are the ones on the photo below. Like the bamboo structures, we also experimented on the design of the PVC structure. So here you see what we call the pyramid design and also the cross design. We actually observed that the black noddy prefers the design which allows for less wind exposure and where the nests are closer to each other. So that is the one with the central pole. So the absence of trees in both islets resulted to limited supply of nesting materials. And that is not good because although the nesting structures are available, if the nesting materials like grass, seagrasses are not available in the park, then the birds will not be able to breed. So grasses in the islets can be used by black noddy with a little help. You will see in the photo below, since the black noddy could not cut the grass themselves, we have to cut it for them. We also provide nesting materials from the mainland when we go to Tubataha. In June last year, we were able to plant 430 saplings of the native vegetation. However, the survival rate of the saplings was quite low. This was possibly due to the low rainfall or due to the seabirds picking their leaves and building nests on them before they even have time to grow. And so what we did was we put bamboo guards around the saplings. You will see that in the photos to be able to prevent the birds from building their nests while they are still young. And so now the problem is, our concern is if the saplings will grow, then we have to build bigger bamboo guards for them. Our experiment continues with the design of the nesting structures, as well as to reforest the islets, because that's the long-term goal, to be able to rebuild the forest in the islets to provide breeding habitat for the endemic black noddy. We are currently looking for funding for geolocators and satellite tags for selected seabirds such as the black noddy, so that 4 terns and noddies that we have breeding in the park, they are not in the park for 4 months. That is from November to February, and we don't know where they go. And with these geolocators and satellite tags, hopefully we can acquire them in the future. We will be able to know where they go and formulate better conservation strategies to protect them. Currently, we are communicating with certain individuals and organizations to formulate a national seabird action plan for the Philippines. And lastly, we're calling those who have experiences with seabird rehabilitation efforts similar to ours. We would like to learn about your successes and failures so that we would be able to improve ours as well. Thank you very much for the AWS for giving us a chance to present our conservation efforts in the Philippines. And we would like very much to invite you to visit our website and also our social media accounts to learn more about seabirds and also the conservation of Tubataha. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your effort to save Black Nadi. And I think you did a lot of experiment to save them. And we have one question from chatting box. I have a same question here. Toki Inoue asked a similar question. Why have the native plant decreased in the island?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we observed that the native plants started to decrease in the island when the red-footed booby and began to arrive in huge numbers. So in 2004, there were only a couple of pairs, and then shortly 2 years after, I think there were 1,000 pairs, and they keep coming. And so because they're big and then they nest on the trees, the bird droppings contribute to the acidity, and then it kills the trees. And also we've experienced drought because of El Nino for the past few years.
Okay.
And so those as well contributed to the decline in the number of trees in the islets.
Okay, thank you. And second question, have you done some carrying capacity study to understand the optimum nest? Dr. Patnaik asked.
We have not done
Okay.
carrying capacity to understand how much the structures can actually carry for the Black Nadi, but we have rough estimates per structure.
Okay, and Professor Chen Kalin asked probably the comments you made toward the end. Is this bird migrating to other area? You need to use a geolocator, but you did not have enough funding to continue work on this migration route issue. And your organization did a lot of work on Black Nadi, and I mean, who is sponsoring the fund to protect the Black Nadi at the moment?
So at the moment, these efforts are covered by some of our NGO partners. Yeah, to be able to build these structures. But I see here in the chat box question, are the birds migrating to other areas? That's our question. Actually, that's why we wanted to have the geolocators. The population now of the Black Nadi is around 3,000 adults. And that's not very good, because the highest population we've had so far was 10,000 adults in 2013, and now that's the goal, to be able to reach that again. Yes, to restore the population.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And do the people in Palawan recognize your effort? Is well known, or yeah, I mean, is it popular? I mean, your group did a lot of work. Is it well recognized?
I could say that because the park is offshore, not a lot of people knows about the effort, because the park, as you saw in the map, is in the middle of the Sulu Sea. Not a lot of people can actually go. We've been trying our best to inform them of the conservation of Tubataha in general, as well as the seabirds. Before the pandemic, we did information campaigns in schools. We go to coastal villages to inform them. And now, we are active on social media. So you will see on the screen our social media platform. You can visit them to learn more about us. But those are how we inform the Filipinos and those in Palawan of our conservation efforts.
Okay. just keep working on the publicity of this bird, and then many Asian friends in Asian Wetland Symposium. We have a huge network of a flyway issue, conservation issue, restoration issue, and then hopefully you can make some international joint project and to find the migration route, and also vegetation issue again. I mean, sometime, you know, the vegetation decline in 10 years and then recover for 10 years. We never know, but we need that's why we need a long-term monitoring of this kind of a population change. And I think I really appreciate your group effort to save a black noddy, and hope you to continue work on networking with many Asian friends. Thank you very much, Maria. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Ju.
Yeah. So we have one more presentation. We'll move to Nepal. Okay.
Okay, sir. Do I get my... Okay. Today I am going to present some biodiversity resource of Dipang Lake of the Lake Cluster Pokhara Valley Ramsar site. Reports 2 new species of dragonfly new for Nepal. I am one of the co-author for this paper. My friend Mr. Pokhrel is out of our contact because he has some emergency. Then he is in the hospital right now. Then I am going to present this one. Right now I am working as a government agency in the Fiscal Commission, National Natural Resource and Fiscal Commission in Nepal as a member. Our findings is this presentation are based on the comprehensive field intervention in Dipang Lake of the Lake Cluster of Pokhara Valley, Ramsar site 22757 under the funding of Kinanen Nature Conservation Fund Japan and Haryoban Program WWF Nepal USID to strengthen the lake basin governance in the spirit of integrated lake basin management approach. This is run by Port Fund, extended support from the study of the report, dragonfly and densified insect odonator of Dipang Lake, Nepal. Lake Cluster Pokhara Valley declared in the Ramsar site 2016. Lake Cluster Pokhara Valley declared in the Ramsar site in 2016. Here is the 18 is the corrected one, but you keep in the wrong one right now. And this is the largest Ramsar site in Nepal. Cluster has Nepal holds 10 Ramsar sites in total. It covers 0.25% of the total global surface of the Ramsar coverage, 6,561 hectares. Distribution of sites varies from low to high. In high lane of Nepal, 4 sites. In middle hill of Nepal, 2, and low lane of Nepal, 4 sites are declared as a Ramsar site in Nepal. And Pokhara Valley, Lake Cluster Pokhara Valley declared in Ramsar site 2016, and it is the largest Ramsar site in Nepal. Cluster has association of 9 bigger and small lakes in the Nepalese context. Hewa is the largest one, followed by Begnas, Rupa, and this Dipang is this report is related to Dipang Lake, which is one among the 9 lakes of the Lake Cluster. You can see blinking one. It is a 4th one largest lake in this cluster. The objective of this study was strengthening lake basin governance, including the participatory demonstration of the biodiversity resources of the Dipang level. And approaches and tools are systematic sampling, including transit, inventory, participatory assessment, and expert consultation, followed by the spirit of integrated lake basin management, ILAC 2005. In this tools, you can already know, already these tools are integrated water resource and management, integrated watershed management approach, cooperative management of the local lake institution, and integrated lake basin management of Dipang is formed. The biodiversity status with the report of new species is one of the product of interlink to other product. Findings, location and general feature of the Dipang Lake. It's located in the Pokhara metropolitan city, Kaski districts, Gandagi province, across the Chiton, Annapurna landscape, Nepal. Georeference is 28 degree 10 minutes 974 seconds north to 622 second north to east, 84 degree 3.787 degree to 84 degree 4.34 328 seconds east. It is elevation. This elevation is 8,800 6,872 1,289 meter above the sea level. Types of the water: fresh water, shallow, eutrophic, and surface drainage basin. Core area is 0.15 square kilometer, and basin area is 2.4 square kilometer. Depth of the lake is very shallow and 3 to 5 meter shallow. You can see these lakes in this area. This area is located in the Pokhara metropolitan city, 27 and 28 wards. Hydrology and drainage of this site is very small and prevents of the dry river, free water coves, groundwater recharges, moderate level to management of the intervention exists, cooperative management of the lakes, and forest and ecosystems. Around 44.7% of lake basin area under the forest. 3 types of forest types: Schema Catanopsis forest, subtropical pine forest, and mixed forest of the Soria robusta and Schema Catanopsis. Average canopy cover was 59.09%. All forests are community forest management, and there are 7 community forestry user groups. These are the area where the community forestry exists. And the floral diversity is very high. Total number of the 254 species of plants, representative of 70% of the flora of Pokhara cluster, Lake cluster Pokhara Valley, and 57 species of trees, 22.45%, and 25 subspecies, which cover 9.8%. 62 species of herbs and grasses, and 17 species of climbers, and 22 species of the cultivated ones. 34 species of aquatic plants, which cover 13.39%. 18 species of invasive plants, including 9 species of invasive aquatic plants. Of total, 211 species terrestrial and 53 species aquatic habitat of plants. Aquatic flora comprises of 9 order, 15 families, and 24 genus, while orders pose 48.48%, followed by the order Caryophyllus, 18.88%. These are some plant species, aquatic plant species of the Dipang lakes. And faunal diversity also high. There are more than 415 species of the fauna, 208 species of the invertebrate, including 52 species of the butterfly and 207 species of vertebrate. And 88.5% of the vertebrate of the entire lake cluster Pokhara Valley, and 16 species of the mammals, 152 species of the birds, 19 species of reptiles, and 5 species of the amphibians, and 15 species of fishes are found in these lakes, Dipang lakes, and 156 species of insects are recorded from this Dipang lake. These are some examples of faunal diversity, photographs, and some images of birds and fish from the Dipang. Butterfly and insects of the Dipang also high. You can see some beautiful butterflies, picture of beautiful butterflies and dragonflies, some insect diversity of the Dipang. 156 species of insect, order 10 order, 65 families, and 143 genus. Order Caloptera, followed by the Orthoptera and Hemiptera, are most diverse order. Of insect, 52 species of butterfly under the single order Lepidoptera, and 5 families and 41 genus. Dragonfly and dense flies of the Dipang, there are 28 species, 20 genus, and 6 families. Libulidae is the most dominant family in terms of species evidences. And you can see the checklist of the species, dragonfly and dancefly. There is 2 new of dragonfly and dancefly, 2 species recorded new to Nepal, first enumeration from the Dipang Lake Basin. Taxonomical hierarchy of the 2 new species from Dipang. This one is Caryogeriana, Caryogruvellium, and next one is Kingdom Animalia, phylum Arthropoda, class Insecta, order Orunella, family Caryogerianidae, and genus Caryogerian, species Acarian approximates. This much for today, and this thanks acknowledgement Kinderman Nature Conservation Fund, Japan, Hariopan Program, Nepal, strengthening climate resilience lake basin, governance in Dipang Lakes, Pokhara, Nepal, collaborating funding. Ministry of Industry, Tourism, Forest, and Environment, and Pokhara Metropolitan City for their outstanding support. Community institution, Dipang Infrastructure Development and Conservation Committee, and Dipang Fishery and Agriculture Production Cooperative Organization to make project to great success. Asian Wetland Society, South Korea, for providing space to present this funding. All the team members of the courtroom for their persistent guidance, and Mr. Sajan Casey, the principal investigator for the creative investigation under the support of the court fund. I was one of the co-author for that resource. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So is it reconnected now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Shalendra, and very high biodiversity of Dipang Lake, and you mentioned at the beginning it was a participatory survey, and also you emphasized the governance, but this lake is surrounded by about 44% forest.
Yes.
Is there any threat to the biodiversity?
Yes, there is a small threat, but the threat is gradually increasing in the near future, because there is a lot of encroachment is coming up.
Okay. How do you evaluate 254 species of a plant, or and 415 faunal diversity? Is it very high, or is it some
It is a,
low level of biodiversity, or high level?
it is higher level. It is higher level compared to within the lake.
It's very high level.
Yes, compared to other lakes within the lake cluster Pokhara Valley.
Okay. So 52 species of a butterfly seems to me very high.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
very high.
Okay.
Compare with other member of the same Pokhara Valley, lake cluster Pokhara Valley. Among the nine lakes, not with compare with the country, only within the lakes only.
Okay. And in your PowerPoint, 207 vertebrate living in the area, and I think I don't know why it seems to me very high number of a vertebrate.
It is 152.
What consists of highest biodiversity?
Yes, it is 152 species of the water birds.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's 52.
52 water bird. Oh,
water birds.
So your bird
also.
Yeah, your bird diversity of Dipang Lake is very high.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for your wonderful biodiversity presentation, and hopefully in many Nepal Ramsar site similar approach of studying biodiversity. I do very frankly, I do not know what level of understanding of biodiversity of a Ramsar site in Nepal, but I hear very often many people working on the biodiversity of a Ramsar site, and I think your Dr. Pokarel, you're managing all the animal and plant?
Yes.
Okay.
We are working together. When I
Dipang
was
as well as other Ramsar site.
Not right now, but we are planning to expand our program other Ramsar site of Nepal.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, thank you for your effort.
One model in Dipang. We develop one model in Dipang, then replicate to the other parts of the Ramsar site of Nepal.
Okay, so the Dipang is most well-studied site. Is that right?
Yes, you're right.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your effort. And
welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Sungbo?
Yes, Chair.
Sungbo?
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, I'm going to make some summary of our session, and other than that, maybe audience in chatting box can send us comments while I'm making summary.
Yeah, definitely.
And is that okay? So
of course.
yeah, we have maybe within 5 to 7 minutes, we can wrap up this session. First, the presentation. This session is wetland conservation and management and the restoration session. And first speaker, Dr. Patnaik, make a wonderful presentation on the value of a protected area and to the local community. The people, they don't realize the value until we prove. But this is a wonderful case of participatory research by fishermen. And it was very clear within the
Here we lost you again. Okay.
Function, and it was including guano, and many birds enjoy the habitat, and also seagrass provide very important habitat for microbiota, and then that create zooplankton and also fish. And then finally, fishermen got benefit from this Nalabana Bird Sanctuary. And I hope this similar approach should be expanded to many other Asian wetlands. Okay, and then when we move to
Sorry, apologies for these technical issues. So I think Chair is about to summarize the second presentation from Dr. Sharma, I guess. So meanwhile, we are waiting for the Chair to come back. Dr. Judah, on behalf of Dr. Pokale, so the Kate has a question to Dr. Pokale. So she's asking that how long it takes to confirm to new species. So yeah, and Mr. Judah, can you hear us? Yeah, we have a question from the floor to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So Katie is asking, so how long does it take to confirm 2 new species?
Pardon?
Yeah. So through the chat, Kate asked that how long does it take to confirm 2 new species?
It takes 3 years.
Excuse me, would you please speak a little bit louder, please?
It takes 3 years. 3.
So yes, thank you for the answer. And following that, I also have a question regarding the 2 new species. So is there any further plan in the future to monitor or to manage these 2 new species? Do you have any further plan?
Yes, we have a local institution in Pokhara. Then we give some tasks to monitor that things.
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And as the chair hasn't come back yet, I think so. I would like to ask the participants again, if you have more questions, please leave your questions through the chat box. So maybe we can wait 1 minute more, and then if there is not, then we can conclude our session. So in this session, we covered as Chair mentioned, participatory management, and also the monitoring and managing the site through the high technique. And also we also covered in this session about how the Tubataha Natural Park they manage and restore the habitat for black-noded bird. And lastly, from the Nepal, Dr. Grung, on behalf of Dr. Pokale, he also shared how they monitor and manage, and finally they found new two species in the Pokhara Valley area. So since there is no further questions to speakers, we would like to conclude our session on behalf of our honorary chair, Dr. Ju. So thank you very much all. Thank you. And thank you very much for your participation and for your valuable presentation. And please join our another session tomorrow. So we still have 2 more sessions tomorrow. So please join, and we conclude our session now. So thank you very much again.
Thank you. Thank you, Sangwo.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Sambo.
Thank you very much.
Good night.